Hi, I'm Sarah Cowgill, along with Lisa K. Donner, Dave Patterson, Graham Noble, and John Barr. And this is The Conservative Five, an online TV production of Liberty Nation News. After 4 years of strolling along, wondering where Joe Biden might be on vacation, Trump came back. And he is exhausting. No one, especially the legacy print media, has time for much more than a quick headline and a quote from a Democratic politician on why everything he does is bad. President Trump has done more, it would appear, in 2 weeks than the 4 years the Biden bunch spent tooling around. Dave, you and I have had back-channel chats on the media's hypoxia over the speed of decisions. Can you start us off kind of a quick review or maybe even a comparison on 4 years ago till now?
Oh, my goodness, Sarah. I mean, to your point, if you use the number of press conferences as a metric, Joe Biden had the fewest at 37 over 4 years. President Trump has had a press availability for practically every one of his 200 executive orders that he signs, and he has taken more executive actions in his first 3 weeks than most presidents in 2 terms. So this is a whirlwind experience for the press in the White House. You know, perhaps the most important action to date was Trump's issuing of National Security Presidential Memorandum number 2. This is the reapplication of crippling sanctions against Iran. And, you know, the number and speed of Trump's presidential actions has the media's collective heads spinning. A reporter barely has a title figured out before he's being faced with another news blitz from the pen of the president. You know, from sounding the federal government death knell for diversity, equity, and inclusion to prohibiting biological males from participating in girls' sports, imagine, Trump has been a tornado signing machine with well over 200 executive orders and presidential actions. If the White House press corps is definitely going to have to up their game if they're going to keep up with President Trump.
I mean, I thought it was interesting that he kind of threw out some fear tactics on that Fourth Estate and shook up the White House press corps and some other major news outlets. We have a clip. I want everybody to take a look at this clip, and then we'll talk about how boutique media might be on the rise.
It is a fact that Americans are consuming their news media from various different platforms, especially young people. And as the youngest press secretary in history, thanks to President Trump, I take great pride in opening up this room to new media voices to share the president's message with as many Americans as possible. In doing so, number one, we will ensure that outlets like yours, Axios and Breitbart, which are widely respected and viewed outlets, have an actual seat in this room every day. We also, again, encourage anybody in this country, whether you are a TikTok content creator, a blogger, a podcaster, if you are producing legitimate news content, no matter the medium, you will be allowed to apply for press credentials to this White House.
I guess what I think is interesting about that, it's the Trump administration just kind of, kneecapped a couple of the big boys to include what people are calling boutique media. I mean, that could be all sorts of things. So, Lisa, or even John Clark, let's talk about these kind of outlets and their impact that they are having.
Okay, well, I've been fighting this issue of the Iron Dome over the White House press briefing room for decades now. And, we tried to get in early on, and they had such a high bar, and they voted on you and everything. And the Trump administration is just opening it up. So we've already applied. So, so have 7,000 other people. But, it's worth doing. And if Americans wanted a transparent presidency executive branch, they got one. That's for sure. Now, they're only opening up one seat. So they're not taking anybody's seat. They're giving up their own seat. But, it's a start. It's a step in the right direction.
I think it's a good step in the right direction. I mean, it's a giant step for press, especially an independent, more fact-based kind of thing instead of the talking heads kind of thing. So I wanted to quickly talk about this exhaustion that Trump is inflicting on all of us, including Liberty Nation News, because every time we're just very busy trying to keep up with this man. But I want to talk about Gaza, and I want Graham to weigh in on this and the proposal he made. Are we keeping the fourth estate on their toes, or are we really use this strategy? I mean, how are we looking at this? How are you looking at this, Graham?
Oh, it's hard to tell with Trump whether he is serious or not about the Gaza thing. You tend to think he is. I mean, I could see there are an awful lot of pros and cons to a Gaza becoming a kind of administered by the US. My personal view is that there are far more cons than there are pros, but it's an interesting idea. But you never know with Trump. Is he just throwing this out there to distract everyone from somebody else, or just to get the head spinning in the fourth estate? Oh, oh no. I mean, first it was, Greenland, and then it was the Panama Canal, and now it's Gaza.
The Gulf of America.
The Gulf of America. There you go. I mean, it's a very interesting
lagoon. It's
a very interesting concept, and of course, it would be a game changer for the Middle East. And though I am not a huge fan of the whole idea of it, there are certain ways that it could, if all the countries in the region kind of bought into that kind of idea, then it certainly would be good. It would certainly, I think, bring a certain amount of stability to the area, particularly right there where it's just south of Lebanon and south of the southern part of Lebanon, which is Hezbollah territory, right next to Israel, of course, not too far away from Iran, which probably will give them the creeps. Interesting idea. I was just kind of mulling over what they could call it. I mean, they could go for something like the American Riviera, but I actually like the idea of Gazafornia.
There you go.
Well, at least we have one place that ended in Ornia that liked us. This guy is in his 70s. How's he going to keep this up for 4 years? John Clark.
Well, he's 10 years younger than Bernie Sanders and some others that are in there, so he's still a spring chicken. I think that he's going to keep it up. I think he came in loaded for bear, and we see a carrot and stick approach from everything from international relations down to that press corps video you showed. I might name drop that I have seen Carolyn Levitt speak here in New Hampshire, nearby Vermont, when she was running for Congress a few years ago, and she is a firebrand, and she's proving it, and she is smart. And so we don't just need one old guy. Whatever we call old, okay? So he's got a lot of really brilliant talent around him. This is what a meritocracy looks like instead of an identity rainbow fest. And in fact, it's bringing diversity to the media. Instead of a stranglehold of the mainstream media, what she is talking about is actually opening up to what people are watching. Podcasts and other avenues, why do they watch them? Because of authenticity and trust that has been lost by the mainstream media. And I think this is filtering through very many aspects of this multifaceted approach with hundreds of EOs, but every agency is being turned upside down, not just by Trump alone, but by the team, the army of very passionate patriots who are coming to not retaliate against the last administration, but to simply hit the reset button for what free speech looks like, what integrity and accountability in government looks like. It's probably been many bipartisan, both parties in power since we've seen this kind of change that you can believe in. And I think people are waiting to see. And I think we're going to see nonstop energy of this sort for 4 years and maybe beyond that if it is effective.
Funny, I took a moment, Sarah, and I went through some of his blizzard of actions.
That's a good
And
way
I,
to
and I
call
wrote
it.
down a few for us, including but not limited to emailing 2 million federal employees telling them show up for work or take the golden parachute and resign, firing 6 FBI senior officials who were involved in the Mar-a-Lago raid or J6, sending out a survey to thousands of FBI agents to find out if they were any way involved in the J6 debacle, and I don't think he's looking to hand out participation trophies. Oh, by the way, hunting down and arresting some 8,000 illegal migrants. In terms of concessions, he's managed to get Mexico to place 10,000 federales at the border and Musk a free hand, and Musk is upsetting the folks inside the Beltway daily. Its next move on USAID is causing heartburn. I mean, then there's the Dirty 51 who no longer have security clearance. I mean, and on and on and on. And we're just 2 weeks in.
I'll add another one to that.
Release it right now. You need that now.
I'll add another of the most recent one to that. The entire staff of the Central Intelligence Agency has been offered a golden parachute.
Oh, really? Okay, well,
Aw.
Lead would be better.
if you take a moment to do something else, you've missed a Trump directive.
John Clark, take that back and apologize.
What, that a lead parachute would not be more appropriate? Why give them gold?
Okay.
All right. I didn't know that was.
Let's give them a break, and we're not going to act like that, John Clark, or you're going to be in timeout.
I don't trust the CIA.
Nobody does. They're spooks for a reason.
The CIA doesn't trust the CIA.
doesn't trust the
John.
CIA.
Dave, you're our national security guy. Talk about Gaza a little bit. I think this is just another smokescreen, just like North Korea. Great.
The art of the deal.
And on the
I have a little bit different view of this. I mean, I think that one of the things that symbolizes the way President Trump deals with stuff is he gives the people who are supposed to do things time enough to think through it. And we've had since, for almost a year prior to Hamas to figure out what to do with Gaza. And virtually no one has come up with anything that makes sense. And so Trump will say, if you guys can't do it, I'll do it myself.
Yeah, exactly.
Just the way Rubio says, if you guys are going to continue to behave badly in USAID, I'll manage you.
Rubio gets a, gold star for getting El Salvador to take anybody that nobody else will take. I mean, that's incredible that he did that.
He does have the all going to be a little more surprised about that man's ability. He's never been this much on the national stage, and I think we're all going to be pleasantly surprised at his role.
I think, too, Lisa, to your point, Rubio does have somewhat of an advantage because he can say, you can listen to me or you can listen to my dad.
Yeah, that's a good point. He really, has life experience and his whole family,
Yeah. I mean, you can't get better than that when a refugee that has escaped and was welcomed into this country because, they went through the legal process and did what they needed to do. You will never, ever meet a more patriotic American, I don't believe. But
one thing that the press doesn't get is Trump's chess playing. They just don't get it. They take everything at face value, and they don't see how he's managed to maneuver and manipulate Canada, Mexico, China. We're just 2 weeks in.
Well, he's got the laser pointer and a whole bunch of cats are trying to play.
Yeah, good.
I'll throw in one more quick comment about Gaza as well.
All right, we got to wrap it up, Graham. Go ahead.
This whole thing just could be a big scare tactic. He's putting the fear of God into Hamas and Hezbollah and Iran and all those people there. They're thinking, oh, we've got to get this sorted out once and for all because otherwise the US is going to come here and just take it over. And they don't want that.
They don't want that. Well, guys, what a wild e-ticket ride. We the people elected. Liberty Nation News will do our level best to keep all of you updated. Thanks, panel. Stay awake. That's it for our Conservative 5 panel today. Check out our other C5 shows and segments on your favorite video platform. YouTube, Vimeo, Rumble, we're on them all. As well, Liberty Nation News has its own Roku channel where you can see all of our TV productions. The Liberty Nation does not endorse candidates, campaigns, or legislation, and this presentation is no endorsement. I'm your host, Sarah Callaghan. Thanks for joining us today for the latest news and commentary. Your choice for free thinking, free speech, libertynation.com.